Well, I'm getting ready to pour a sprue rod. It's another rubber mold. I take a rubber mold compound off of an original, make a 2-part piece of rubber and a 2-part piece of hydrocal, and then put it back together, pour the whole mold full of hot wax, and then I insert a piece of rebar, steel, that has a hook on the end of it all the way to the bottom of the mold. And it'll harden in there, and then when I take the mold off, I have a piece of wax with the rod on the inside of it. That is the main sprue rod. And I will start welding on different sizes of another color wax, which is red. It actually melts faster than the brown melts. They will become pouring spouts, and they will become venting and gating to release the gases in the metal when I pour it. And that's a science of its own. You have to really do that correctly or it won't work. You'll have places that won't cast and places that will cast, and you'll have holes. You'll have all kinds of problems if you don't sprue it correctly. And that's put on a main rod, and then we have feeders that come off all over to the different parts of the sculpture that's going to be cast. When you pour the metal in, it has to run to all those different places as fast as you can. You want it all to flow to the same points and start to harden. After that's completed, we'll take the wax and the sprue rod and we will dip that into a tank of ceramic slurry material. It's made up of silica flour and material called prime coat, and when they bond together they fuse, and we stir those in a tank that continuously stirs, because if we don't stir it all the time, the particles from the flour will settle out in the bottom. It'll become hard. We dip 9 times at about 4 to 5 hour intervals. Then at each one of those dippings, we will start off with a fine sand, washed white silica sand, and then about the second or third we'll go to a coarser sand, and each one of the dips is, while it's wet, we'll put it over to the sand barrels, and then we will spread the sand all over the wet slurry. Then we'll hang it up to dry, close to 4 to 5 hours. Then we'll dip it again. We usually keep that going through the day and through the night as long as we can. We used to get 3 to 4 dips a day and let them dry overnight, and then start up again the next day. And we want to go between 9 and 12 dips. It's according to what size it is, how much hydraulic pressure we're going to have on the interior of the molds when we pour the metal, because there's a lot of force that's being pushed into those crevices that will cause that mold to expand and crack if it isn't set up right.